Welcome back to another video with flyfishingwithjeff.com. And here in my our cabin here in northwestern Wisconsin, and I'm going to show you how to tie this pucker lip fly that if you've watched the last few videos you've seen, and I'll tell you what, it's really worked well up here. It has worked well for years. And I also think I know it's good on largemouth bass because I caught several on our lake the other night using the same fly. That right there is the original. I'll give you a good look at that. Okay. And that one right here beside it is one of mine. I'm going to use a little different eye this time. Okay. So we're just going to jump in and get started on this. I already have a B10S Stinger size 1 as far as the hook. I love those. Lightweight yet sturdy. I think probably about the best hook you can go with in this situation. Got white thread, fairly tough thread, and I've got a pair of gray hackle feathers already started and ready to go. So I'm going to go from there. I'm going to build a little tail. I'm going to take some bucktail. This is silver, gray, whatever you want to term it. And I'm going to put a base of it right on the back of the fly. Now I'm going to give it a couple pulls, and if you've done bucktail, you know I want to let it work kind of all the way around. Now I'm going to tighten the thread down a little bit, and I'm going to work forward. I'm not worried about this bulk, the extra bulk. I'll show you why. You're actually going to need a little extra bulk here in just a second. Okay, so we got the bucktail on there. Next I'm going to go with some of this pearlescent flash, and actually a pretty big piece of it. Maybe there's probably 10-12 fibers in there, and I'm going to do the same. I'm laying everything kind of right on the top, keeping it on the top, and then I'm going to work it forward. And again, don't worry about what it looks like underneath there because you're not going to see it. Okay. Alright, we've got gray hackle, we've got silver or gray bucktail, and then we have the flashabou on top. We can trim that up later. And lastly, I'm going to put probably 3 of these lateral scale. You can see that if you've used this much. The only thing I don't like about this, I guess it's probably just me, but it kind of makes a whistling sound as it's going through the air, but boy does it look nice on the water. So I'm going to take 3 pieces of that, and again I can trim this later, but I'm going to lay this again right on the top, grabbing those fibers, going all the way forward. Now I watched this video just recently, another video on YouTube, and you can find it. It's a Spanish fellow that does the tie, and it's a very nice tie. He makes it full using all of the thread and the bucktail, etc. What I'm going to do is I've got a bunch of just old crappy gray polar chenille here, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to tie this in the back, and to give the fly some bulk, the character of the circumference of bulk. So we're going to do that, and it'll make sense when you watch this why we're going to go forward with this, and this will kind of give it the same cylinder. We're going to go all the way to the front with this, work it back just a little bit, grab a little bit of that right there, and come forward and tie that off. And right now it kind of looks like a fancy woolly booger without a hackle, and that's kind of what we want. Go ahead and let's secure this head really well, and whip finish the front right here. A few turns will do. And again, we've created some bulk for our fly, for our pucker lips themselves. And you'll see that. So what I've got is a sheet of white hairline thin fly foam, 2mm. Fly shop here in Wisconsin, it costs $2.50. I don't know if that's a good price or not. You can probably find it at the crap store for less than that. But we're going to start with the bottom lip, and all we're really going to do on this bottom lip is just make a nice even cut. And if you remember in kindergarten, you always cut from the same spot on your scissors to make a nice lip. Okay, and that will be the bottom lip of our fly. I'm going to go to the super glue here. This is Super Gel by Gorilla Glue. I like this stuff, and I like the super gel because it gives you a little bit of time to mess up and to fix everything. I'm going to put a bead right on the side, a bead down the bottom, and another bead on the other side. My super gel is kind of messing, clogging up there. Okay, put the cap back on so I don't forget that later. And here's the tricky part, a little bit of tricky part. Got to keep your fingers out of here if you work with super glue. We're going to come up and we're going to hold that like so for just a second here, and the super glue will start to bond. And that's why I like the chenille on there. It gives it a real nice surface to bond to. And again, trying to keep my fingers out of the excess super glue that's going to help the top part here in just a minute. And if you'll notice, you can see from this angle, I've left it so that the bottom of the lip sticks out a little bit past the eye. That's going to give it that nice cup on the face or the front of the fly that will allow you to make that bloop, bloop, that good popper sound. Okay, that part's done. Now we're going to move to our top part. Again, in the front, all we're going to do is make a nice round cut. Nothing complicated. In fact, I think you can kind of come up with your own style on how to do this. I am going to leave an edge and come down about halfway and cut at an angle, kind of cut a triangle piece off. Do the same thing on this side, measuring it with my scissors where to come in at, and that point hopefully will wind up right on the middle of the back. Okay, so we're going to go back to the super glue. Still have some of it hanging around up top, but we're going to put a bead right down the side here and another bead right down the side and a little touch up here on top. Okay, and now we're going to apply the upper lip of the pucker lip fly. I'm going to orient that in the right position. It's got a little bit of excess lip here. We don't need any of that. Okay, and we're going to come right over the top, and again holding that, got my fingers in it immediately so that it extends out past the eye of the hook. And we're going to hold that for just a second. It doesn't take very long. This thin foam does a good job of making contact, and there you have it. So believe it or not, we're about done. That's not bad. A couple things that I'm going to do real quickly is I'm going to take a black marker and I'm going to give it a line right across the top here, and another line across the top, and I'm just going to fill that in with my black marker so you kind of get the idea. Looks like a little racing stripe. right down the top. Okay. And now we're going to come back, go to my red. This is a Sharpie poster paint. I've had these for a while. One of those that you have to shake up, and we're going to put the red lips on the front of the fly, and I like that. I like red. I think the fish see that. They think that it's injured, it's dinged up. So we're going to come around the front. It's kind of like putting, I guess, if you put makeup on, that would be what it would be like. We're going to do the tie around the front of the thread as well. And you can see we basically got the fly done. In fact, I watched one of the recent videos. I fished one of the brown ones like this for a long time without any eyes. And so you can put whatever kind of eye you would like. I have the living eyes by Ice Collared. Those are the 7mm ones. And that's what they look like. And if you haven't done this, it's no big secret. You're going to put, back to the super glue, we're going to put a drop of super glue right here on this. And when I go to the eye, I'm only going to show you one of these, and then we're going to, you can out from there forward. We're going to drop that guy right down on top of there, use my tweezers or something to push that right in, and it's seated. So that's the fly. Now the only last thing that I've been doing is I'm using this product by Loon Outdoors. It's UV Clear Fly Finish Flow. Okay, pretty simple. You can use Solarez, you could use any number of products, but the real key to this thing is we've got to let this black marker dry really well or it will bleed. So that's the fly. You can play around with it. I've already tied them in green and brown along with this white one, and I've also tied up a couple, as you can see there, in a frog pattern. Okay, so you can buy the frog skin foam, okay, and that can be bought in lots of different places. I get all my stuff through Feathercraft in Missouri. Let me see if I have that right here for you. I do. It's called, excuse me while I dig this out real quick, it's got a piece of foam in front of it. Frog foam tying material, and that's all it is. And they carry it at Feathercraft. Frog foam. And so you can see it gives it that pattern. That's a nice looking pattern. And the other thing are the legs. These are Cohen's Creatures frog legs. These are large, 2.5. Okay, you can see those legs there. And in fact, all I did then was take my markers with dots, black, light green, and dark green, and made spots on both sides. And I can guarantee you this works because this was very effective on our little lake for largemouth just the other night, and I'm going to give it a try the next time I run down the river. So there you go. There's the fly. Take this off real quick and let you take a look. You can clean up, trim up, but you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. There's the eye drying with some super glue. Again, we put the finish on top of it, clear coat all over the top, and trim it up. And I'll tell you what, it has been working remarkably well up here, and it's a simple tie. Easier than spending, when I bought these were even 6-7 years ago, were like $7-8 a piece. I don't know about you, but I'd rather spend 50 cents for them. So that's what the fly will look like ultimately, right there. And I think it would work on all sorts of different things. In fact, I'm planning on making a bigger version of this, using a bigger hook, bigger everything, for muskie and pike come a couple more months when we get into our season. So hope you enjoy that. I hope it works out for you. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, leave those for me in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks again.